Hey everyone, happy April. Don't have a lot of updates, but let's start by talking about framing. Framing in games is sort of like the narrative context to explain the fiction of the game, why the players are doing the things they're doing, what like how you're supposed to perceive the experience, what the intended just how players like how you set up the game so like to sort of set expectations for the players. I feel like this is way more important in unranked games. With traditional ranked games, they traditionally have very clearly defined goals and outcomes. So like they're so abstracted and clear and objective that you almost don't really need to understand why you're doing things. Like, why are we killing goblins? To get to the juicy victory points, of course. Why are we stealing land from the natives? To buy hats that are worth solid victory points, of course. Like, you don't need to think, you don't need to understand, you just know that you pursue your goal. You're given your victory points are dangled in front of you and you're off to the races. But in these games where there's multiple outcomes, multiple paths that you could pursue, there's like choice between how you decide to engage with the game. Well, suddenly the motivation that you provide to your acteurs, your players, becomes a lot more relevant. I talked a little bit about this on the Building the Game podcast that's not out yet, sorry. But in my game Conviction, if you were to like strip that game down to the nuts and bolts, you could describe it as a victory point race with shared ties. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this before. But when you're framing the game as an argument with a loved one where abusive behaviors are on the table, suddenly players don't really have a hard time understanding that shared tie is a good ending for that game. The reason I wanted to talk about this subject is because while we were developing a couple games for Lunar Punk Games, we were seeing a couple scenarios where players were kind of chasing after outcomes to the exclusion of the other ones, and we were kind of feeling like this is like a issue of framing. Like, for example, in Curse VHS, we recently started introducing these alternate outcomes to the game rather than just surviving or not. If you got your true soul, which is really hard and very luck based because there's a chance it's just completely unwinnable through no fault of your own. If you get your true soul, then you escape mostly with your self and intact. But there are other ways to survive where you suffer some variety of trauma, like you might be haunted by cartoons, or you might like lose some sense of self and get yourself confused and your memories confused with some of the players that you stole souls from. And these outcomes were framed so negatively that they were kind of just viewed as different flavors of losing, and players kind of exclusively wanted to shoot for their true soul. But that was very intentionally a rare outcome, and it's very luck based. It's often not in your control whether you're able to get that or not. So we're in the process of working on changing up the framing so players might want to pursue the other ones more. And there's a couple ways that we're approaching this angle. Like in ranked games, oftentimes when you have this problem where players are pursuing one path of play versus another like too much, it's an issue of like mechanical balancing. You didn't provide enough incentives on this side to draw players into it. It needs to be worth more points or more abilities, more power, whatever, to get players to be enjoying all aspects of your game, right? But so I guess in that sense, the way we mechanically balance this issue is that previously it just seemed like a luck of the draw thing. Like you could summon all game, like I would, and just pray and hope that your true soul comes out. And if it doesn't look like it's coming out, then you start going for the AR stuff. But what we are trying to do is making it so that in order to take pieces of your true soul, you have to discard cards, which means you have to have already had cards to begin with. So you have to work for it a little bit more. You have to invest a little bit more, and yeah, it requires some planning and work. So it doesn't seem like it's just a luck thing. It's also a thing that you have to work towards, and you might have to take things that other people are using or discard things that other people are using, that sort of deal. So that's one way we helped with it. But another way is that we just needed to change the narrative framing of this. It was never the intention that it was a terrible thing to be haunted by cartoons. It's just that they might be invading your personal space. It might be kind of fun to have Garfield hanging around, just might get tiresome after a while, or SpongeBob or something like that. So, and well, I guess losing your sense of self would always be kind of a bad thing, but you're stealing players' souls, so I don't feel too bad about that. But yeah, so the takeaway is that with these unranked games, sometimes the way to balance player behavior is not just mechanically, but narrative framing. That could be really important to your play experience. That's what was important for a lot of my other games, for Conviction, Bread. Players need to know what their options are in the unranked game. If you present a multi-victor game to players and you don't tell them straight up that it's in between cooperative or competitive, they might just approach it assuming it's a competitive experience and miss out on that whole half or that whole aspect of the game experience. So yeah, with unranked games, framing is particularly important. It taps into this cool subjective human component of gameplay, and I love that. Speaking of human and subjective stuff, for this month's Unranked highlight, I wanted to talk about this game that was shared with me by Roscoe Shock at Unpub. It's called Maiku. And in Maiku, you come to the game with these 18 syllables, and you play with other players who also have 18 syllables. And you start by reading the poem that you started with. And then afterwards, you take your 18 cards and you draft them with the other players. You take one, pass the rest. Take a card from their player's stack, and then another, until you have a new set of 18 cards. And then you take all those syllables and you try to make a haiku out of them. And you got a spare syllable, so you could toss that or something. And then afterwards, you get to keep your new 18 syllables. And that's just your poem that you get to keep for next time you play with another group of people or the same group of people. And I really love this. This is my kind of trading card game where there aren't rare, powerful cards. It's just they're all got different subjective values to different players, and I think that's so cool. When I was playing, it was too hard to sort of plan for a particular sentence. I tried to get a balance of conjunctions or particles or whatever those words are called. But I found myself mostly picking up words based on a general vibe of what I wanted the poem to be about. I grabbed a lot of words about night and day, words like all, stuff like that. And this is what I ended up with. The little day wakes all, by in the pretty sea sky way. The good night paints all. So you're going to end up with a lot of stuff that doesn't make a lot of sense because you got syllables that are parts of other words being mixed with other parts, pretty. What the heck is that? Almost sounds like pretty to me, which is why I picked it. But it's more subjective, more messy, more abstract than normal. I like that, or at least my middle line is. I felt the other two lines are pretty solid. I was going for the nice for everyone kind of vibe. Um, and so I'm really happy with it. I really love it. I would love to see this as a game that people take with them and play with each other and come up with little Maikus. I think it's really awesome. I'd love to see more games of this sort of victorless, legacy-ish, like kind of like element. I had talked about this game earlier, Vicky's game, not a real word game, and they're doing something similar with that game. I would love to see more of that kind of thing. Yeah. So, in terms of game updates, honestly, not a whole lot of Night Bunny stuff. I've been spending a lot of my time on Lunarpunk stuff and Lunarpunk development. So, in terms of my games, I made this sign for the walls in bread. Look at this graph I made for a rulebook. Oh, look at these sketches. These are just rough sketches that I've been working with Nicole Chalmers for the illustrations for the postcards, and I'm really happy and excited to see what she's been cooking up. It's I think they're looking real poggers. And that's it. That's all I got. Next month is Protospiel Online. I'm pretty excited for that. Hoping I'll be able to go. Planning to bring a bunch of my games, but also a bunch of games that are not mine for Lunarpunk. Bringing Bread, of course, in case anybody has not played it. I'm looking for Unguided Test still. But I'm also going to be bringing Curse VHS and also something for the Midnight Market that I'm developing. Just a little development, but yeah. And I might bring Unraveling Conviction. We'll see. I really want to work on my Borrower's game, but I just don't have time. Oh, I really wish I had more time. Alright. Later, PogChamps. Ciao.